It's 3 o'clock and we're going to go, we have a quorum and we're going to go ahead and get started. Before we get started, I'm going to ask Senator Hickman if he'd open us up in prayer. What mic is that?
There you go. There you got it. Thanks, sir. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, thank you for a wonderful day, Lord. Thank you for the sun shining. Thank you for finding time in our busy day to get together, Lord. We just ask you to help us do good work for the great people of Georgia. In your son's name I pray. Amen.
Okay. Thank you. And again, welcome. And if you want to sign up, there's to speak, there's a sign up sheet. I would ask that, I don't know how many folks we're going to have, but we're going to limit comment to 3 minutes. Because we may have, how many do we have on there,
You have
Chairman Dugan?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that want to speak to some little bill that you got coming up here,
Okay.
and then one that wants to speak to my bill.
Okay. And then we've got somebody on Zoom, I think, also. So we're going to limit it to 3 minutes. So think about that when you're gathering your thoughts. Also, I want to thank Paige and Anna for putting this together. I know we were supposed to be in another room. We moved here to accommodate Senator James. Thank you. I'm glad you're here. Also, before we get started, we've got 5 bills and we're one of the committees that does not have a standing committee day. We're running out of time. A week from Tuesday, we got to get our bills out of committee. So that being said, there is nothing available next week except Monday. Now we're off on President's Day for Monday, and I want to get kind of the temperature of the committee. If we could do something Monday afternoon late, if you're coming back to Atlanta from Savannah, for you, Senator Mallow. So, you know, I don't want to do a committee meeting if we're not going to have a quorum and you can't make it. Why don't you do me a favor and text me and let me know your availability, and then we will send out a mass text. Paige will, and we'll see if we can do something Monday. And we've got a few bills we've got to get moving and get hearings on and so on. So hate to do that, but right now, unless somebody cancels Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we're not going to have a meeting. And we've got some important legislation that wants to be heard. Okay. All right. With that, we're working, today is, also real quick, Greg Dolezal, we've got a letter. He's ex officio today. Senator Ben Watson had to get back to Savannah. So I asked the Lieutenant Governor's office. I have the letter. We'll put it in the record in the minutes, but Greg Dolezal is ex officio today on economic development. Thank you for being here, Senator Dolezal. Okay, Senator Dugan, we are going to hear about SB 136, and I believe it's LC. Let's make sure it's LC 442257.
That's correct.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My plan is to be extremely quick on this. As you've heard from hundreds of different sources, we have a shortage of workforce housing across the state. All this bill is doing is in 2 areas. One, it's including the term workforce housing in the description of types of housing, as you see on line 12. And then starting on line 16, it adds that local municipalities have the discretion at their will to waive impact fees if they meet the criteria that's listed in the bill.
Okay. Any questions of the committee?
Shocking.
There's no questions.
He does.
What button is it? What? Go ahead.
Thanks so much, Chairman. To Chairman Dugan, does this bill ease the regulatory environment and give municipal governments the opportunity, if they're going to do workforce housing, to alleviate that impact fee from the developer? Because we know that we need more housing, and our problem to bring the cost of housing down is due to the shortage of inventory. And this bill would help us to increase that inventory.
Is that not right?
Is that not true?
That is true. Thank you.
Make a motion.
Okay. I think I got a couple questions first. Senator Dolezal, your lights on? Okay. All right. Senator Hodges, you want to ask a question?
There's no requirement to do this.
There's no requirement.
They can do it if they.
It's their choice.
It's a may, not a
That's-
shall, correct?
Yes, for the
Okay,
Yes, I was gonna say for the newer members,
I make a motion.
it's
All right.
just May is.
he's,
You got a question?
all right,
I would move the bill do pass.
okay, we've got a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second from Senator Hickman. Oh, time out. We've got a public comment. Does somebody here?
He's speaking for it, so I prefer if we got a motion to pass in a second, and it looks like that he just sit down.
You okay with that? Mr. Highsmith? Are you okay with that? All right, well, so we've got a motion do pass, a second by Mr. Hickman. Any further discussion? Okay. Everyone for, say aye.
Ah,
Anybody against? Okay, passes unanimously. Thank you, Senator Dugan. You can come back up here, Mr. Vice Chairman. Okay, next we have Senator Dolezal with SB 183, LC 36.
I think a bunch of people out there.
Oh, is there sub? What's? Hold on, Senator. We got a sub here. Let me get to it. Let's make sure we're working off the same LC. Is it LC 365445 or is it a different LC? Oh, no,
500, Mr. Chairman.
so it's LC 365500S.
Yes, sir.
Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, well, it's LC 365500S. It's in your binder. It's the new committee sub that was just brought to my office earlier this morning. So everybody got that? It's in your binder, Senator James. So with that, Senator Dolezal, the floor is yours. Please present SB 183.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Is your mic? Yeah, it's on.
Got the mic on there?
Yeah,
Great.
That's the summary.
that's the summary, the bill. Okay.
So I'll just give everybody a second to make sure they're all on the same page. LC 365500S.
Okay.
You good, Senator James?
Yeah.
Everybody else good? Excellent. Mr. Chairman, I know there's a number of people that want to speak on this bill, so I'm just going to give a high level overview of what it does, and then I will step out of the way and allow those people to speak both for and against this bill. This bill is a bipartisan bill that seeks to ensure that the resale of tickets remains in the control of the person who purchased the ticket. And I'm just going to kind of highlight what this bill does on lines 36 through 39. This bill ensures that ticket sellers, ticket originators do not have the ability to prohibit the terms or conditions of resale of the tickets. In other words, if I buy a ticket to a concert, to a sporting event, et cetera, I have the right and the ability to resell it however I choose, whether that is to an individual in person or whether that is using one of the online marketplaces that have emerged over the last decade or so and have become quite prolific ways that consumers choose to resell their tickets. Secondly, the original ticket seller may not penalize, discriminate against, or deny access to the event based on the resale of the tickets. In other words, if I purchase a ticket on one of the online reseller marketplaces, I cannot be denied. That's all that this bill does. As far as restrictions, what this bill also does is it allows the concert promoter, the sporting event owner, et cetera, to continue to do multiple things. They can continue to establish limits on the quantity of tickets that may be purchased. That's line 45. And then line 46 through 52, it allows them to continue to do group ticket sales, promotional ticket sales to sell to civic organizations, the Boy Scouts, et cetera, at a reduced rate, and then offer the restrictions around those tickets. And that, Mr. Chairman, is really the heart of this bill. As you know, Mr. Chairman, as members of the committee may not know, I spent 13 years of my life on the road as a tour manager, and have produced more concerts than I would like to remember. So I like that this bill kind of aligns with some subject matter expertise from a previous life that I had, and we'll be happy to answer any questions that the committee has.
All right. Questions from the committee? Senator Mellon?
Senator Dolezal, you know, I am, thank you to the chairman. I'm passionate about the Boy Scouts. I spent 15 years as the Director of Operations for the Boy Scouts of America. And you mentioned the agency's ability when tickets are donated to us for us to auction those tickets off for the venue, for the benefit of fundraising to support the organization from some of our donors that may have season tickets, own suites throughout the state and provide us those tickets to auction. What you're saying is this bill would allow us to be able to auction those tickets, and the venue have to honor those tickets that we auctioned off. So the donor or the person who purchased the tickets doesn't have to come back and say, hey, they wouldn't let me in. Give me my money back from your charity auction.
Right. So what lines 46 through 52 are essentially trying to do, and I think of back to a number of times we would sell promotional tickets at a price to a specific group. It allows them to not allow the transferability of those tickets. But if the concert promoter or the sporting team gave the Boy Scouts tickets for the express purpose of the auction, it would still allow them to do that. So there was some concern expressed from some of those that were concerned about this bill that they would no longer be able to offer reduced fare of tickets because they would be afraid that those tickets would just be resold. So imagine, for example, you did you sold to elementary school down the road, you sold 50 concert tickets at a reduced rate. There was concern that they would then just turn around and sell those for $50,000 if it happened to be a Taylor Swift concert, for example. This does not prevent them from having the optionality on how they restrict the resale of those tickets. So in your case, Senator, I think that they'd be happy to let you resell those because that's the purpose for which they gave you the tickets, but would then still allow them to sell discounted tickets if they chose to do that and not have to worry about those discounted tickets being turned around and sold at street value, if you will.
Thank you. All right, any other questions from the committee? You're getting off easy, Senator.
I'm sure I'll be back with some commentary.
All right,
after
well,
this, but
you're going to get closing remarks.
Absolutely.
Okay, so
thank you, Mr. Chair.
be ready. We've got several speakers on this issue. Earl Earhart, if you would come on up, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate the opportunity. My name is Earl Earhart. I represent the Atlanta Braves Baseball Club. And with all due respect, I just read Senator Dolezal's brilliant prose in Senate Bill 204, and that's an amazing piece of legislation. However, needs must. The Atlanta Braves are in significant opposition to this piece of legislation. And let me just set the table for you. Who are the teams on the field here? The teams on the field are the home team. That's every small venue in Georgia. That's every barn dinner theater up to the major community organizations, almost like the Atlanta Braves and the other teams in this that spent billions of dollars and are part of the community. And then the visiting team is the out-of-state ticket scalping organizations who want to use the state government to intervene in the business and gobble up massive tranches of tickets and sell them for huge anti-consumer prices and markups. And that's what this is about. The fans are those in the stands, the hundreds of thousands of Georgians who are hoping the state government doesn't support scalpers who want to sell them tickets at 1,000% markup. That's what this is about. And these tickets, let's talk about transferability. Transferability is 99% of all ticket sales. Senator, like you, I spent 14 years in the Atlanta Area Council Board, and we did a lot of Boy Scouts, and we had a lot of Braves tickets, and there was never any issue of transferability there. This is about the issue of these ticket scalping organizations getting access to lots of tickets. Ask yourself, keep on it. What's who benefits? That's what we need to ask in this building. And this isn't a bunch of consumers coming to you today saying their tickets aren't transferable. I can take my phone right now and transfer you a ticket to a small theater. You can pay me whatever you want to pay me for that. I can transfer you Braves or Falcons tickets that I own, any of those types of things, Mr. Chairman and members of this committee. But why are these scalpers asking you to get involved in this business? And because they want these accesses to these. Have you ever sat and tried to buy an electronic ticket when you're on your computer and you're competing with these massive bot farms? You can sit there, they can pick up those tickets faster than you can type. And it's a frustrating and infuriating experience. And those are run by these ticket scalping organizations. And by the way, they're not from Georgia. They don't provide tens of thousands of jobs like these teams and these major organizations. They're here to get you to involve the state legislature in the business of selling tickets. And we really ought not involve ourselves. And I know 3 minutes, I'll stay to
Okay.
that, Mr. Chairman. I just ask you guys, please side with the home team, the fans, the Georgians, the consumers, and not the out-of-state scalpers who are there to help their business at the expense of the home teams. Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Senator McLaurin, you got a question or?
I do, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank
Thank you, Mr. Hurt. Just, you asked who benefits. I think that's a fair question. So I guess to be fair, what percentage of Ticketmaster, if any, does the parent company of the Braves own?
The Liberty Media,
Yeah.
I wouldn't know if they own, I don't think they own anything in Ticketmaster. I'll check that for you, Senator, but the Braves do contract with Ticketmaster and AXS and many other. Ticketmaster is a tool. It's like your computer. It's an app. It's a program. They utilize it to sell electronic tickets. Paper tickets are out. But Ticketmaster is really not an issue in this bill. Yes, they had a very high profile issue with a Taylor Swift concert, but that doesn't affect this. This is about those big resale scalper operations from out of state and what they're going to be able to do, how they can tell a venue what that venue that they own, what to do. Can you, under this bill, for security and safety reasons, tell somebody who might have been shoplifting from your gift store in there that they're not allowed in the stadium?
No, I
The
think
way
I,
that-
I do understand the argument. I'm
Oh,
mostly
I'm
just
sorry.
interested in the ownership stake,
Yeah.
but if we don't have it here,
I should have been.
Okay.
no worries.
More
Thank you,
brief.
Mr. Chairman.
Good.
All right. Senator Summers.
It's actually me, Mr. Chairman. if that's
Okay. Mike eight.
I just provide an answer to Senator McLaurin's. I just Googled it and the answer is Liberty Media owns 31% of the shares of Ticketmaster. And you were unaware of that?
I'm not aware of that. No.
Okay.
Again, Ticketmaster is a program, this is not about Ticketmaster. I would
Okay,
submit.
and
And Mr. Chairman, if it's okay.
yes,
You have a copy of the bill there in front of you? by
No,
chance?
because it's a substitute. I haven't seen it. I had the old one.
So you mentioned organizations coming in and buying lots of tickets. Line 45 of the bill states that you still have the ability to, quote, establish limits on the quantity of tickets that may be purchased.
Yes, sir. I read that in the other, but all teams have that ability today. I mean, I was trying to figure out why that was actually stated in the language of the bill. The same goes with how many tickets we can sell. I mean, we know we have 30,000 seats at a venue. You can sell 30,000 seats. Help me understand
Well, sure. I
why
think that
why that's there.
the reason this is in the bill is to assuage the concerns that you just stated, which is that company X would come in and buy 5,000 tickets and somehow have a lock on the stadium. So you would have the ability under this bill, very explicitly spelled out here, to limit quantities of tickets that can be sold.
Right.
I guess my question that I would have for you on top of that is, you do allow the resale of tickets to your games. You just only allow it through your own platform. Is that correct?
No, the Ticketmaster platform absolutely allows resale. I can resell a ticket to you right now. I can transfer you a ticket on the Ticketmaster platform to many of the season ticket games that I've owned personally.
So you're not opposed to reselling the tickets to your games. What exactly are you opposed to?
We're opposed to the idea that these resale organizations can dictate terms of safety and security in our venues, of how we are utilizing those venues, how we're utilizing certain promotional things. You do go into promotional things. You say that we can't promote to the general public unless it's a discounted ticket. That's a little bit of a price control. However, we don't go into whether or not one of these organizations can, or any type of scalper can get a lot of tickets, guerrilla market the brand marks of the organizations. And the government is not seeking to limit their promotional capacity. But they
mentioned-
want to limit the teams.
You mentioned safety and security. If you were to transfer your ticket to me right now, what safety check is in place?
Could be anything from previous, Senator, number one, you're not a security risk, but there are security risk in
Fair
venues of that size. And there are people who defraud the organizations, don't pay their bills to an organization. There are people, there are
I understand.
as simple as a picture at the gate for people who have defrauded previously, that type of thing.
Sure, but with all due respect, you didn't answer my question. My question was, if you were to transfer a ticket to me right now, in that ticket transfer process, what security check happens?
On the electronic side, nothing. On the stadium and venue side, there's significant security. in place.
Absolutely, I would agree with that. So isn't it true that whether I sell a ticket on a online marketplace that your company does not control with 31% of control, or whether I sell it on a different one, the security difference is non-existent.
No, sir, I
Security,
disagree.
well, I just asked you what security happens when you transfer the ticket. You told me none.
No, you said in general, I'm sorry, there is, when I transfer you the ticket from my Braves ticket account or from my dinner theater account, there is no security check at that point. The security check happens at the venue. But this bill says that the venue can't restrict that. If somebody brings a ticket from another organization, they would have a claim against the facility if they were told they couldn't come in based on the language of this bill.
Can you point me to that language? I don't think that there's anything that says.
Senator, I don't have the new substitute. I can't. It wasn't available.
I just wanted to still make sure that I'm understanding you correctly, whether I transfer the ticket, say from Ticketmaster, or whether I transfer it from StubHub. The security difference at the time of that ticket transfer is non-existent.
At the time of the transfer.
The security that you are relying on to keep your patrons safe is the metal detectors, the off-duty police officers, the other checks that happen at the gate, which is the same regardless of the source of where I purchased my ticket. Is that not true?
That's correct. But what this bill says is that at that point, if that ticket is denied and it's from a reseller, then the venue may not deny access. That's what it says. That's what it's intimated. And that's what would be the claim against the venue.
You can deny access based on security concerns. You cannot deny access based on the origination of the ticket. I think that that's a mischaracterization.
We're not
of
asking to
what-
do that.
of what the bill
We're asking
says.
to deny based on that, but I think you will find that there's all kinds of businesses look for risk. They have to mitigate that risk. And this, according to every team, is a significant business risk to every team in Georgia.
All right, we're going to take a couple more. We got 3 more questions, but hold on, Senator Summers, Senator Ram.
Thank you for this one. On this one, I heard many times you mentioned about outside organizations, sculpture organization. Can you name some of the organizations they're coming buying tickets or, out of state?
There are a lot of them. I think the biggest are StubHub, but SeatGeek. There's a lot of resellers out there, but those are the biggest that you see. There's a lot of guerrilla marketing organizations that don't have major product lines, but they're significantly worse in their actions as well.
Thank you.
Senator Summers.
Make sure I understand you correctly, if you don't mind, sir.
No, sir.
2 questions.
Sure.
We're helping the seat geeks and the ticket masters of the world with this legislation, in your opinion. We're benefiting them.
Yes, sir. Why are they asking the state?
I don't know.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what we have to ask. Why are they intervening in this? Why do they come to the government in Georgia to get help with their business model?
Here's somebody that has trouble buying tickets, no matter what I do. I always
Me
mess
too.
up. Okay. But what do other states do with something like this? How is this handled in other states?
The case law in other states, actually Chairman Gunner in the House has a bill that will codify case law from across the country that very simply defines, because of the electronic world we're in right now, Senator, we have only one definition in Georgia statute, and that's for ticket broker. There's not an actual definition of a ticket. Chairman Gunner's bill will define that revocable license, which has been the basic standard and precedent across the country. And he's bringing that as a ticket bill himself. It's a short 1-page bill. So that's what the teams want to do. They want to define what it is and what their actual rights are under that. This, I have to submit, is a outside agency asking for you to intervene in the business of tickets and venues.
Okay, Chairman Dugan.
Thank you. Real quickly, because I'm a novice at this. Ticketmaster, who we've established at Liberty Media, is a significant shareholder in. And I think it's funny where you sit on the issue, whether you're a scalper or a reseller. It seems like the terms are interchangeable. But according to what I just looked up, Ticketmaster's the third largest reseller in the nation. So you'd be one of those scalpers that you were just talking about, wouldn't you?
No, sir. The teams use them only for their platform.
It's not what it says right here.
They do not use them to resell their tickets in that sense. Why would they? The teams sell at face value. Why would they need a reseller to sell at an inflated non-market price?
The entity that y'all use as your seller,
One of the entities.
I'll grant you that one. One of the entities, the one that y'all have a significant financial interest in, is one of the top 3 in the nation in reselling tickets. So I hear you, but I'm gonna need to hear more.
All right,
you.
we're going to take one final question, Mr. Earhart.
Mr. Earhart, just want to follow up. I heard your comment about why are these organizations coming to the state? Is it not true that the sports teams and concert venues seek from the state and local municipalities through hotel motel tax and bonds for taxpayer dollars to help fund these stadiums and arenas with taxpayer dollars? Don't you all come to local municipalities and states to ask for help as well?
Many of them do, and they spend billions of dollars of their own money in building these facilities. They provide tens of thousands of jobs. They provide massive community organization support, from the Boys and Girls Clubs to all the things that they do in the community. I would submit that that's a significant difference than these outside resellers. When they build $1 billion facility and provide 10,000 jobs, maybe there's a different answer to that question.
Okay, I want to just make one comment. I've been a season ticket holder for the Atlanta Falcons since 1998. I think they know who I am, but I still have to go through a metal detector for security. Just, you mentioned the security piece, and Senator Dolezal brought up, you still got to go through the metal detector. It doesn't matter if you're a season ticket holder or not. So that security doesn't really doesn't sell me at all. But anyway, all right. Next, thank you for Mr. Earhart for your comments. Next is Peter Conlon. Peter, if you'd come on up here, and the floor is yours.
Thank you for this opportunity. I'm Peter Conlon. I'm chairman of Live Nation in Georgia. I've been promoting concerts in Georgia for 40 years. My partner, Alex Cooley, and I had worked together for a long period of time. I now run Live Nation here. We're the largest promoter of concerts in the world. We own Ticketmaster. It's one of the, I think, the best tickets.
Wait, hold on. I'm sorry. I was trying to get it up a little bit because we couldn't hear you, but okay.
That never happened.
Well, I think I'm really here to talk about the artists and not Ticketmaster, because what we do is represent the artist. This bill, as I read it, is written basically by the scalpers. I don't call them brokers. I've been fighting scalpers for 40 years. There used to be anti-scalping laws in Georgia. These guys were smart enough years ago to come in and change their name to brokers, which they're not. Brokers have a license to do what they do in some way. These people surreptitiously get tickets by using bots, which are illegal federally. They're the reason a lot of your constituents or yourself can't get tickets, because they clog the system. I had a show I put on sale last week with 12,000 tickets. It sold out. 4,000 went to bots. They then resell these for a high price. We don't set the ticket price. The artist does. The artist wants to make their tickets available to all their fans at a reasonable price. They know they could get these same exorbitant prices if they wanted to, but they don't want to gouge their fans. What we end up is what I consider ticket extortion. They get these tickets through surreptitious means. They're the hottest shows. People want them. And then they set an exorbitant price. If you want this seat, here's what you're going to pay. I went on StubHub and SeatGeek this morning to look at a couple shows that I'm promoting. Beyonce. We sold out 3 Mercedes this week. Tickets were going for $12,000. Okay. I mean, one of the big differences in the earlier question is Beyonce doesn't get any of that money. It's going to SeatGeek or StubHub, who have no investment in this show, no part of it, and they didn't get their tickets legitimately. It makes no sense to me why the state would want to support that type of organization. You know, we have a building in Midtown, our own building. We have not taken any state or federal money for any of our buildings, including our venues here. Roxy out at the Battery, we finance that ourselves. All our venues here, we have paid for ourselves. So we have no public money in anything. The artists don't want their tickets scalped. They want them at the price they set. Now, Ticketmaster does have a resale platform. They put that in there to try to compete with these other platforms. The difference is the artist tells us the most we can charge and the artist gets the money, not us. Okay, SeatGeek doesn't give any money to the artist. You know, I didn't see anything in this bill where you're licensing these brokers, where you're having audits on these brokers, where you're asking them where they're getting their tickets. I don't know of any StubHub or SeatGeek offices in Atlanta. You know, we have thousands of employees we're employing in the state of Georgia. We have an investment here, and I've been promoting shows. You will, most of our tickets are transferable. Some artists don't want them transferable because they know how valuable they are. And that's a request they make to us. We don't do it. They ask us to. And then we inform Ticketmaster that's what they want to do. But more and more artists are going to want that because they don't want $12,000 tickets out there.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Conlon. Any questions of Senator Watson?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If we've got $12,000 tickets on the market today, how's this bill gonna change that going forward?
Well, we'd be allowed to make them non-transferable, which this bill would say we could never do that. So in the future, if Beyonce wants to make her tickets non-transferable, that won't happen. I mean, the best thing y'all could do is make scalping illegal and make non-transferable, legal. If you did those two things, you'd wipe out scalping. But you should have anti-scalping laws again. And I think you might see a push federally for that now because it's getting a lot of attention. But the artists have not spoken out as much, but they're going to get involved. And you could lose some artists in the state of Georgia over this if they feel that the scalpers are being treated preferably.
Okay, well, I'll allow one more question. Senator Mello.
To ask the question, you talked about the ticket scalper, but if I'm not mistaken, so would Ticketmaster discontinue its third aftermarket reselling company as well? Because, or would you try to outlaw the other companies so that you would have total proprietary, you're the ticket seller and the reseller?
Well, I can't speak for Ticketmaster on that, but I can tell you, like I said, the major difference is that money goes to the artist, not us. So it's still artist money. The artist gets none of the SeatGeek money. They're just trying to compete. I think there's a good chance that could happen if scalping was illegal, yes.
Do they get any of the Ticketmaster resale money for the company you have that resells tickets?
That's what I'm saying. They get that.
But Ticketmaster gets all that money. The artist didn't get that money
That money goes to the artist.
in your resale market,
Yeah, it goes to the artist.
which you make a profit off of. So the artist gets to double dip. Is that what you're saying?
No, it's not a double dip. The money goes to the artist. It's their ticket.
But you're saying the resale market has tickets that are at a higher price and that
No,
they're in.
If persons decided to resell, instead of going to StubHub or SeatGeek, they go to Ticketmaster and put them out there. However, there's a level at which they're told they can't sell beyond, but the money from that goes to the artist, not us.
But Ticketmaster also has a resale platform, correct?
That's what I'm saying.
So you're saying in your resale platform, the money you get from the resale goes to the artist?
Yes.
So by virtue, the artist can say, I've set a floor for my tickets, but through Ticketmaster's resale market, they can get additional money if the ticket price goes up. So you're playing it at both ends.
Oh, I mean, I think that's kind of a
But
strange view of it. They're doing it to react to the scalpers because, there's people who are selling their tickets and they would want to make sure the money goes to the artist, not just to these unknown organizations. Again, it's where the money goes. It should go to the artist. It's their show. It's their ticket. It's not our ticket.
So you can resell the ticket for them. Okay, thank you, Mr.
Okay.
Chairman.
Well, look, then just outlaw resale. I got no problem with that.
Mr. Collins, thank you.
Okay.
And we're going to go on to Sam Owens is next on the list. Yes.
While Sam is being seated, just not taking any time, we represent the Atlanta Hawks and we support the position of the Braves and the Falcons. And rather than be duplicative, I just want to share that with the committee before Mr. Owens spoke.
Thank you.
Wanted to say duplicative.
Yeah. Duplicative. Okay. All right.
He gets
Welcome.
paid a lot of money for that, Chairman.
Welcome. Glad to have you.
Good morning, Chairman Sam Owens. I'm here on behalf of the Falcons and the United. And I'm going to limit my comments to relations to the Falcons and the United. Unlike some of the prior testimony and comments. When a ticket is resold, the Falcons and United get $0 extra dollars. And by definition, this is a bill that supports large corporations outside our state to the detriment of our state. If the Falcons have someone who's defrauded them in the past, they have the ability to not sell them tickets. This bill makes it much harder to deal with. If you have someone who's been a security risk, that makes it harder to deal with because you don't know about the transaction. If an artist, for instance, I'm old like numerous members of this committee. I grew up with Billy Joel, Elton John, etc. When Billy Joel has a concert, he routinely wants his fan club to be the first couple rows in the venue because he overtly does not want scalpers buying those tickets and reselling them for a lot of money. That's not an option under this bill. There are numerous talents that literally say, we want a section, for instance, smoke-free. We want a section for families. We want a section with no alcohol. We want our most loyal fans of X number of years to have these front rows, no longer under these bills. So from the perspective of the Falcons and from the United, just as it would be, of course, for the Braves and the Hawks, this is frankly fan loyalty. This is supporting your fans in this effort. Senator Mallow, I've been involved in the Scouts for years and years and years. Happy to have a son who's an Eagle Scout. There's nothing that stops a transfer now for the Scouts to do exactly what you said. And in fact, it's encouraged. There's nothing that stops transfers in general now. This is a bill in search of a mission for the folks that are making more than the talent, a lot of times with the resale. And I'll keep my comments short, Mr. Chairman. I'd be just as happy to not take questions, but if there are, I'll be happy to. But once again, my comments are limited to my client, the Falcons and the United.
I have a question for you. I still buy LSU season tickets. For 38 years, I've been a season
should.
ticket
That's
holder
great.
because that's my school.
That's great.
And they give me the option to have paper tickets and I still get those.
Mhm.
So that if I can't go to a game, because I can't go to Baton Rouge every weekend during football season, I put them in the mail and send them to family members.
Right.
Would the Falcons ever consider having a paper option? And would that help you from a standpoint of, because it's so easy to transfer tickets or scout tickets on this? To your point, would the Falcons ever consider going to a paper option for fans?
I can't tell you 100. Yeah, I haven't asked my client that question. I don't know why they'd be opposed to it. But I mean, candidly, let's say, for instance, I'm going to go to a game with my wife. And when my wife wakes up that morning, she doesn't feel good. Well, I immediately go on the smartphone and send it to my kids. My kids may not live near me, but I send it to the kids. You know, in Atlanta, one of my kids lives in Brookhaven. I'm not really interested in driving the north part of 285 to give my kid a ticket that I paid for so they can go for free. If I can use the app and just zip it to the kid in 1 minute, that's a good thing for my son and for my daughter. There isn't a problem. The bill is in search of profit over the lack of a problem.
Okay. All right. We have no other questions. Thank you,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Owens. We've got Chris Vander Huff. Is that, am I saying that right? I'm sorry. Come on up and introduce yourself.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. My name is Chris Van Doof. I am the president of the Fan Freedom Project, a national advocacy group that advocates on behalf of fans for fairness, transparency, and competition in the marketplace across social media channels. We have over 100,000, 150,000 engaged followers, and we work on these issues all across the country. I want to be very brief, Mr. Chairman. I know you're trying to run a tight ship here. The bill before you simply says that Georgia consumers can't be punished for shopping in the marketplace for the best deal for them, period. It doesn't speak to bots. There's a federal law on bots. I'm sorry, Mr. Collins' company, 4,000 seats went to bots. Mr. Collins has the ability to utilize the Attorney General in Georgia to track down those bots, use the federal government to help them do that. There are tickets right now, we just looked it up, sitting here in the room on Ticketmaster's resale site for the Beyonce show here for $6,000. The idea that Ticketmaster doesn't engage in resale at the same level as the other companies is a misnomer and simply not true. But at the end of the day, the bill before you doesn't speak to that. It simply says that if you are in Georgia and you're a consumer in Georgia, you have the ability and cannot be punished for shopping for the best deal for you. Sure. Happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Any questions from the committee? Senator Hodge, what, Mike?
10, please. I have a question. I'm not sure who it's for, but if I own the Braves or if I own the Falcons or if I were an entertainer and I had a venue with a certain number of seats and I set the retail price for each seat, what I would want would be to sell all the tickets at the retail price, and I want to have a full stadium. Does this bill, how does this bill, is there any evidence that this bill would cause either of those two things not to happen?
I do not believe so, Senator.
I would ask the representatives from the Braves or I'd ask the same question. I don't know if that's proper or not, but I mean, you're, if you have a sellout, you're getting the same amount of money. You set the ticket price. The tickets are sold. The fans show up. What's the problem from the owner's standpoint? Now, if the fans didn't show up, I would see a problem. If you couldn't sell, if the tickets weren't sold, I could see a problem. But if the tickets are sold and you have your loyal fans show up to support the teams, I just don't get the problem, except that there's some money somebody's making that I'm not.
Okay. All right. No other questions. Thank you. Appreciate your testimony. We've got Laura Dooley. Laura Dooley, if you'd come on up and introduce yourself, and the mic is yours. Welcome, Ms. Dooley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. My name is Laura Dooley. I'm the head of government relations for StubHub. What is StubHub? There's been a lot of questions about that today. We're the world's leading resale marketplace. We don't purchase tickets for the purpose of resale. We provide a platform that allows buyers and sellers to connect. And what we do is provide the customer service in that transaction. We have many partners in our world, including the Braves in 2022, where we served as an official resale partner of that entity. It's something we're very proud of. We believe that we provide choice to consumers in this market. And we support policies like Senate Bill 183 that empower consumers in this transaction and support a transparent, secure, and competitive ticket marketplace. We think this bill is very simple. As you've heard before, it allows consumers the right to transfer or resell a ticket that they've rightfully purchased. That right does not exist today. Today, that right is purely at the discretion of the team, the venue, or the artist that sells you that ticket. If they decide that you shouldn't be allowed to transfer or resell that ticket or give it away or donate it to charity, they have the ability to do that. The challenge we're seeing is that technology has actually amplified their ability to enforce the terms that they put on the condition that you sell. So the simple solution is to shift the balance of power. Senate Bill 183 says to the consumer, you actually now get to decide, not the team, the venue, or the artist that sold it to you. The consumer may decide not to sell that ticket at all. This bill does not require consumers to resell their tickets. They may decide to resell their ticket and to use the Ticketmaster platform because through their technology, candidly, it's easier. They create a lot of friction in reselling tickets on my platform. We're not trying to address that today. We're just trying to make sure that transfer is always an option for the consumer. So if I were to boil it down to one word, it would be control. Who should be in control of a purchase ticket? Should that control stay with the seller of the ticket? Or should it go to the purchaser of the ticket, the consumer? If you believe the control should stay with the team or the artist, then you should vote no on this bill. But if you believe control should shift to the consumer, like StubHub does, then we think supporting Senate Bill 183 is a positive step for consumers in Georgia. And I just also like to mention that StubHub is a proud participant in the Georgia economy. We serve more than 1.5 million Georgia consumers and growing on our platform. We have brought in consumers from 50 states and 19 different countries to events in Georgia. We pay sales tax in Georgia, and we're very proud to be part of that ecosystem and drive tourism into the state. So thank you very much, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. You have no questions. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We've got two more. Bruce Morris, Mr. Morris, if you'd come on up. And then we have someone on Zoom that will follow you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman,
Thank
and
you.
members of the committee. I am Bruce Morris, Director of Government Affairs for Ticket Network, just like StubHub, a third-party marketplace. I'm here to speak real quickly from the perspective of a legislator. I spent six terms in the Connecticut legislature, retired in 2018 as the deputy speaker. But in 2017, we got a bill done that does exactly this. And I was a sponsor of the bill. So I'm here to answer any questions be along those lines, but I can tell you this, since we passed that bill in 2017, no one has lost a job. Since we passed that bill in 2017, no one's complaining about transferability. Our customers have their choices, their ticket, their choice. They do whatever they want to do with it. We actually even excluded a small group of venues. Those venues said, listen, the secondary market has a viable place. So I'm here to support the bill, vigorously support it. We think it's one of the most important consumer rights, consumer values, and consumer protections.
Okay, any questions? Well, you did a good job. No questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, now we have someone that's going to zoom in and is it set up?
Yes.
Okay. Can we go to the Zoom? And we have Victoria.
Yes, hi. Good afternoon, Chairman, members of the committee. I'm Victoria Vonsalewski. I work for Access Group, which is a ticketing company, and we are strongly opposed to this bill as drafted. We provide ticketing technology systems and services to presenters of entertainment events, including our clients, the Georgia Swarm, Zero Mile Presents, and Gas South Arena. And we are concerned about the centering of the revisions, and we haven't, seen the redrafted bill, but my understanding is that, and in listening to the comments thus far today, that the language is really centering the interests of the ticket seller in the secondary market, as opposed to the end consumer. And just transferability is employed by artists on a very limited basis, where, as mentioned by Peter Conlon, it's designed to limit scalping of tickets. So one of the tools that artists have is to use digital ticketing technology to ensure that a fan receives an actual authentic ticket at the price set by the artist. And in very limited circumstances, an artist, and we find this comes up not in the sports context, so concerns about season tickets, et cetera, I think that's a different issue. But with respect to concert tickets for very high demand events, sometimes an artist will decide they want the tickets to be, not above face value. And we believe that it is within the artist's right and control, and that their wishes should be respected. It's a contractual agreement between the artist and the consumer who buys the ticket, that in some cases, if that event is non-transferable, many times it is still transferable, at the original price, but that the conversation should be centered around respecting the artist's determination of how, when, where, and at what price to sell their tickets. We believe that that is the party that is best positioned to understand what's best for their fans. As others, the Braves and Live Nation mentioned earlier, those are the folks, and Access and our clients, we are the folks that are actually paying to bring the entertainment events to Georgia. And we believe that the conversation should be centered around their interests in determining what's best. It is a contract between the seller and the consumer has the option to buy according to the terms and conditions clearly disclosed to the ticket buyer.
Okay, any questions? Thank you very much for your testimony. Thank you for staying on Zoom and staying through the meeting. We do have one question from, oh no, okay. No. Before we go on, I'm going to ask Senator Dolzon, you can do this from right here, your seat. I'd like you to close, have closing comments on your bill. What number are you?
I'll keep this brief. I'll say thank you to those who came to speak in favor and against. This obviously is a very interesting topic that does impact probably each and every person in this room at some point in time throughout the course of the year. We're all attending sporting events, live events, et cetera. I think what we've established really through some of these questions, this is not a bill that's about security. This is not a bill that's going to take security away from any of these venues. It's not a bill that's going to somehow solve the problem of bots. The problem of bots is not caused by the existence of my ability to sell my ticket either through Ticketmaster or through some other entity in the resale market. And these tickets remain a revocable license. We're simply saying you cannot revoke the license by virtue of the fact that somebody bought it on a secondary market versus the preferred market. And I think with that, Mr. Chairman, I'd be happy to answer any other questions, but I think the committee's probably been fully informed.
Okay,
of both sides of
here's
this bill.
what we're going to do. We're going to see, is there any questions to the sponsor of the bill, Senator Dolezal? Any final questions? Well, then I'm going to ask the will of the committee. Is there?
Mr. Chairman, I would move do pass.
Okay, we have a motion do pass,
Mr. Chairman, I second the motion.
and we have a second from Senator Mallow. Do we have any discussion on the motion do pass? No lights. Any final discussion? Okay, with that, I will take a vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any nay, like sign? So we have one nay and the rest aye. So the Senate Bill 183 does pass, and we'll go to rules. Thank you very much for your time. We are adjourned.